You guys are gonna love these oven-baked pork chops for one of the easiest dinner ideas that could be made in less than 30 minutes. And better yet, you don't even need to sear them on the stove, which also means less mess. All you have to do is coat them in a smoky sweet spice rub and pop them in the oven. The end result is tender and juicy pork chops that can be served with a variety of sides. It is such an easy recipe, it almost doesn't need a video, but I'm gonna show it to you anyway. The first thing we'll do is make the spice rub, and that includes 1 tablespoon of paprika, 1 tablespoon of coconut sugar or brown sugar for a little sweetness, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 1½ teaspoons of dried oregano, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of ground black pepper. And once you've got that all in a small mixing bowl, just stir it together. You'll need 4 bone-in pork chops for this recipe, and while I often use boneless pork chops on the stove if I'm searing them, I actually created this recipe because I had these really large bone-in pork chops that did not all fit in my skillet. So I wanted a quick and easy recipe to cook them in the oven in a baking dish. You can of course use boneless pork chops in this recipe as well. Just note that you may have some leftover seasoning, which is fine. You can save that for a future batch. And also note you'll cook them a few minutes less. Place your pork chops in a baking dish, and if they're as large as mine are today, you might have to do a little Tetris to get them all to fit. Then drizzle both sides with a couple tablespoons of olive oil. Rub the olive oil in good with your hands, as this helps the seasoning to stick. Then sprinkle the seasoning on both sides and rub it in so the pork chops are fully coated with that savory, sweet flavor. Cook the pork chops in a preheated 400-degree Fahrenheit oven for 15 to 20 minutes or until an instant read thermometer reaches 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, if you'd like a slight caramelization on the chops, you can turn on the top broiler for the last few minutes of cooking. And if you want to do that, I'd start when they're about 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Also, if you notice the chops look a little dry with the seasoning, you can always spritz them with some olive oil spray if you have it before turning on your top broiler, and that's what I did today. But when they're done and come out of the oven, they've got this beautiful golden color on them, and as long as you didn't overcook them, they'll be nice and juicy in addition to packed with flavor. Needless to say, this is an incredibly easy recipe to serve up, and you can plate it with your favorite sides. Today, I'm serving them up with my garlic herb roasted potatoes and garlic sauteed spinach, and both of those recipes are on my website as well. And of course, don't forget to drizzle some of the pan sauce on top for ultra juicy pork chops that make for a winning weeknight dinner recipe that really couldn't be any easier. I'm gonna dig in for my bite and make sure I get some of those potatoes that soak up the juices as well. All right, not gonna lie, I've already taken a couple of bites of this as I moved the camera angle. And I can confirm it's extraordinarily delicious. As I mentioned earlier, I'm serving it alongside my garlic herb roasted potatoes and my garlic sauteed spinach, but there are so many different sides. You could serve it with mashed potatoes, you could serve it with rice, you could serve it with roasted broccoli, roasted asparagus, so many different options. So just feel free to use whatever vegetables and starches that you have on hand. But for a recipe that really only takes about 20 minutes, this is one of those just easy weeknight dinners where the end result flavor value far outweighs the amount of work and effort that you had to put into it. So that makes it a winner in my books. If you happen to have any leftovers, you can store leftovers for 3 to 4 days in the fridge or for up to 3 months in the freezer, though I doubt you're gonna have any leftovers. I hope you guys enjoyed today's pork chops recipe, and if you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And after you've made this for dinner, I would love it if you went over to the website and gave it a 5-star review as well. And with that, I will see you in the next video.